Welcome to episode 80 of the Clive Barker podcast. There's not too much to say about this one. It was a basically news episode with our second Clive Barker podcast presents Fundraiser II drawing. So you get to find out who the winners are. Welcome to episode 80 of the Clive Barker podcast. So this episode we're basically going to be doing a little news and then continuing on with the second round of our fundraiser.
Yeah.
So in the news, the first thing we have is the Imaginer 2 Clive Barker Imaginer 2 Kickstarter. So it's Imaginer Volume 2 of Clive Barker's art book.
It looks amazing. I mean, have you looked at the Kickstarter? They're almost funded.
I know, and it's still got 30 days left.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet. I haven't done that yet because I was thinking, I haven't even gotten the first book yet. I want to see the first book before I fund it. And right when I was thinking that, I get home and it's on my doorstep. So I'm opening the plastic on it right now, and I'm going to look at it.
And the most amazing thing here is I'm looking at the Kickstarter, and it says 107 backers, 964 pledged of a $13,000 goal. It's crazy. When you think about it, these 107 backers, each backed with, almost 10,000 for let's say 100 backers.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. With 29 days to go. So.
Wow, man. This is a really nice book.
Are you opening up the first one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Holy cow. And it opens with pictures of the exhibits and stuff before it goes into the actual paintings.
The Kickstarter goes on to call this a collection of dynamic artworks from the hand of one of the most influential creative minds of the last 50 years. And then there's a quote from Clive Barker where he says, "If people want to know who I am or what I get my ideas from or why I write the things that I do, Imaginer is the answer to that question." So this book is a 10-inch by 13-inch hardcover. It's going to have around 208 pages, and it's going to feature about 75 or more paintings.
So, looking at this volume, the first one, it says Paintings and Drawings, Volume 1, 1993 to 2012. So that covers a pretty big area of time, right?
Yeah,
I mean, so I wonder what Volume 2, is it going to be before 1993?
One would imagine so, or maybe they're going to put also pictures from that same period.
Yeah,
but that they didn't have enough room for them.
I think it would be. I mean, we've seen the books of blood paintings a lot, but I think it would be good to see them again.
I would love to see those because I have the Sphere books, the UK paperbacks, and the covers on those books are the ones that Clive Barker drew and painted.
This is amazing. This is so good.
There was one review I saw on the internet where the guy who got the book, his minor complaint was that he thought that in some pages the paintings are too small.
Oh, in this book?
Yeah.
Well, they don't take up the entire page. There's borders around some of them. So, right now on page 57, I'm looking at the pinhead cover that's on the 20th anniversary of the Hellbound Heart. So there's a 1-inch border around that. But then you turn the page and it's got a close-up of Pinhead's face so you can see all the brushwork and stuff.
Nice.
And that takes up both pages.
Yeah, Clive Barker's paintings have a geography to them also. Because he practiced that impasto thing, the technique.
And close up, it's like, wow, you can really see the detail of the brushwork, and it makes and up close, it's a little freaky because in when you back up, then you can see, you can make out the picture, but when up close, it looks more chaotic.
I remember when the first time they started actually emphasizing the details on Clive Barker's paintings was in Revelations, when they were putting up some pictures of Clive Barker's gallery exhibits, and they were taking close-up shots of the paintings, and you could see exactly, how much paint was in the canvas.
Oh yeah, they're thick. I'm looking at I just looked at the Terry cats, and there's the full painting, and then the close-up of their faces. This is so cool.
Wonderful.
The pages aren't as glossy as they were in Visions of Heaven and Hell.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like there's more detail in them.
I guess we'll be getting back to this book on a future episode for sure.
Yeah. I want to bring Thomas Negovin back. I mean, it doesn't seem like he really needs our help promoting the Kickstarter, but I'd like to have him back on anyway to talk about it, because this is awesome. This is so cool.
So this is Clive Barker Imaginer 2 is on Kickstarter. We will put the link to it on the show notes.
Yeah.
It will be available also for pre-order on October 1st on Kickstarter. Well, that was yesterday. I'm just reading it from the Kickstarter. And it will be a limited edition of 1,000 hardcover books that will not be reprinted, plus 100 special signed and numbered bookplate editions. So,
wow. Yeah. I love this book. This is so much better than the Visions of Heaven and Hell.
And I bet the pages aren't stuck together either.
No, the pages aren't stuck together.
There's a really beautiful quote from Clive Barker on the Kickstarter, and I'm going to read it. In this quote, he says, "I'm painting these pictures in the expectation that interesting, strange characters and landscapes will come into my mind and into my mind's eye and appear on the canvas through the brush. There is something willfully strange about this process, that you stand back at the end of a night's work and you look at something and you say, where did that come from? I mean, I'm not the only artist who does that. Lots of artists do that, I know. And it's been wonderful because if I had created Abarat from words, if I had written Abarat and then illustrated it, it would not be anything like as rich or as complex or as contradictory a world as it is. Because this is a world which has been created from dream visions. What I'm doing is finding stories that match the shapes of my dreams."
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Hey, I know you're standing in awe looking at Imaginer 1.
Yeah. Actually, I just noticed something weird about it. And I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but if you stand it up on end and you read the title going down the spine, at least on my copy, the title goes diagonal from the left to the right when it's going down. So where it says Clive Barker Imaginer Volume 1, right? And the Clive Barker is over on the left side. Mm-hmm. And then it goes diagonal, and then where it says Volume 1 is over on the right side.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't go straight down. I don't know if that's on purpose or if it's a binding problem. Also, I love the way the cover feels. And it's got embossed
rays of light saying Imaginer. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the square that says Clive Barker Imaginer Paintings and Drawings, Volume 1, 1993 to 2012, text by Thomas Negovin. So that whole thing is all raised up. So
this is being made by Century Guild. Yeah. So, Century Guild are the people now representing Clive Barker's artwork, and they're doing a damn fine job of it.
Yeah, and this is by far the best art book of Clive Barker's. This is the best Clive Barker art book I've ever seen that's been made. So, I think it's kind of a shame that it's a limited run. I think that, if you get a chance, get Volume 1. If it's still available, get it. And Volume 2 is happening right now, and that's probably gonna be sold out, I would imagine, at some point also.
And you know what I think is also going to be sold out when it comes out?
What's that?
The Scarlet Gospels, because we just got the release date and pre-order on Amazon.
Good segue. Yeah. So this is really cool news. I was a little surprised by people's reactions to this online because, I think you and I have been taking it for granted that we already knew this was being published and we knew that it was going to be in 2015. So for us, the new news was the exact release date and the cover picture.
Yeah. I have to do a blog post about this because I haven't done it yet. But the cover looks beautiful. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind actually was the cover for Sacrament because it also features a giant eye under Clive Barker. But yeah, St. Martin's Press has acquired world English rights to publish The Scarlet Gospels, his upcoming novel featuring Pinhead and Harry D'Amour. Of course, we already knew this. We've talked about this extensively, but now they have the release date.
I'm a fan of subtle book covers. I don't like ones with a lot of stuff going on. You know, I
love those. Like those UK paperbacks for Great and Secret Show and The Weave World. I love those covers.
I mean a lot of people and characters doing stuff and.
Oh right.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like the ones that kind of tease you and say if you want to know what this is about, you got to read it. Yeah.
So. The scheduled date is 19th of May, 2015. So mark that on your calendars, guys, because I know a lot of people out there are like desperate to read the Scarlet Gospels. I count myself among those.
Well, and Roger Boyes discovered that you could pre-order it on Amazon, right?
Right, I think so. Yeah,
which is pretty typical of Amazon. As soon as they get a whiff of something, they make a pre-order for it, whether they can actually do it or not.
It's not the first time that Scarlet Gospels has been on pre-order on Amazon. I remember back a few years ago, the Scarlet Gospels showed up for pre-order on Amazon. Yeah. But obviously at that point, it was not even complete yet. I don't know why that happened, but I remember it happened.
Yeah, so. I think they just look for rumors and they put it on their site so that everybody will, everybody will put their money down there. And then it's like, well, I already pre-ordered it on Amazon now.
Somebody must have said something and they put it up, but it was temporary. But anyway, this is going to be 19th of May, 2015. It's going to be a hardcover. It's supposed to be 6.13 by 9.25 inches and 352 pages.
Yeah, so it's not as huge as a typical Clive Barker novel. I mean, like we're in the middle of rereading The Great and Secret Show, and that's almost 700 pages in the hardcover.
Yeah, depending on which edition you have. But this one, I understand why it has 352 pages, because it started out, as we remember...
A short story.
A short story, right? Yeah, it was going to be one of the short stories in the book of short stories that he was writing. Black as the Devil's Rainbow, then it started getting a life of its own. The Scarlet Gospels was going to be a book of erotic art and poetry, and then it became the title for this story, which became a novella. So,
and this story was called Heaven's Reply at one point.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I also remember at one point it was called The Last Requiem.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was this one. So.
And I saw a notebook for Heaven's Reply at the Clive's office when I was there, but I didn't think anything of it. I didn't know what that was.
Oh, man.
But I found out later. I think Alex told us that was Scarlet Gospels.
I'm really jealous about people like Ben Mears and Mark Miller, people who type these books up for Clive, and they're like, hey, I'm reading this book before anybody else. Mm-hmm. That is really amazing.
Yeah.
And also, this book will be available on audio CD with unabridged reading by John Lee. It's going to cost $39.99 for the audiobook. It's going to be $25.99 for the hardcover.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait. I mean, that's obvious. Everybody who's a Clive Barker fan can't wait for this book. Because we've been hearing about it, and it combines a lot of things that Clive Barker fans like, right? Like Pinhead and Hellraiser is something that pulls in people that aren't necessarily fans of Clive Barker's other stuff. So you've got all of those people. You've got the Clive Barker fans who have also been clamoring for this, and having something with Harry D'Amour is like, how do I explain that?
An orgy of Barker?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's so because that's the people who are huge fans of Clive Barker that have read everything he's done. Harry D'Amour is sort of this interconnecting thread amongst a lot of different, a few short stories and 2 novels.
Yeah.
So now it'll be 3 novels.
Actually, I was also thinking here about this book. Also had a troubled delivery. I mean, I remember that Clive Barker was looking for a publisher for this book, and actually the rights for this book were actually auctioned at one point, and St. Martin's Press was the one who won with their proposal.
Yeah,
so
and we've talked about this before. I say shame on
HarperCollins.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's their loss.
Yeah. I remember reading and looking up information for the Great and Secret Show discussion that we will have in an upcoming episode. I don't know if it's going to be the next one or if it's going to be the one after the next one. Depends on.
Oh, the Great and Secret Show.
Yeah,
I think we should push for the next one. We've put it off so much. You know, so, I'm going to stay up nights if I have to. I think we should. Yeah.
Do you want to do it 2 weeks from now or next week?
I think next week.
Okay. Well, our biweekly podcast is going weekly again. But
but a lot of our episodes have just been news and waffles.
So the one thing that I was going to say was that reading up on the Great and Secret Show and all the origins about the time period where this was being written, I remember that Clive Barker got a deal for like $2 million. I think I'll have to check this because it just occurred to me. I don't have a note in front of me, but it was either £2 million or $2 million when he got a contract with HarperCollins to write Cabal 2 and 3 and the Books of the Arts 2 and 3, I think.
Yeah. And
then he delivered a whole bunch of books apart from that, but he delivered Everville. So
he did Everville, but then there's also like The Thief of Always and Imagica and
all beautiful books.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm really happy about the Scarlet Gospels finally having a release date, and
and it's not that Clive Barker was being deceptive. It's just it seems that he really doesn't have any control over his imagination. You know what I mean?
There's an interview with Doug Bradley on the Russell Charrington short movie DVD. Do you remember the short movie that Russell Charrington did?
The Devil His Due, I think.
The Devil His Due. I think that there's an interview in that DVD with Doug Bradley, and Doug Bradley explains that Clive Barker, when he moves on from a project, when he finishes a project, he wants to move on to something unrelated, to something completely original and new.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes he'll just, shift from horror to fantasy or from fantasy to, epic family drama like Galilee or stuff like that. He'll just go into a completely different genre.
And that's what separates the real fans from the people who want to pigeonhole Clive Barker and make him, you're my horror author.
Right.
Like that. Who was that?
People are going to be happy with the Scarlet Gospels. I'm sure.
Yeah. Who was that guy? Remember that interview or that guy that did the review of the prequel to.
Andy Mangold for Fantasia.
Yes, right.
Did the review for the script that was never produced for like the prequel to Lord of the Illusions.
He was really mad about the Great and Secret Show, and he thought Clive Barker had like changed gears and become a different writer, and he didn't like the direction he was going.
I remember we discussed that on the episode for film projects that never happened, right?
Yeah, but so there are people like that want Clive Barker to be a certain way. It kind of reminds me of like, people calling him the Prince of Darkness, and he sort of the people remember him for Hellraiser, and he'll go along with it. But
I think at one point Clive reveled in that title. Actually, I think he really enjoyed it, but then he just didn't let it define him. He moved on to other things.
Yeah, it's like you can say that stuff, and that's nice and flattering. Yeah. But I'm going to go where my imagination takes me.
Sure. Yeah, that's what any artist is supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily. I mean, I think a lot of them, if they do a hit, they're going to try to ride that train as far as they can go. Speaking
of Books of Blood, and this is another segue that I'm shamelessly doing, is you guys know that there's Jacqueline S., the story from the Books of Blood, that it's being developed into a movie, right? So Jovanka Vukovic, who is going to be the director for this movie, produced by Raven Banner and
And she's also at least a co-writer, or if not a full writer. I'm not sure exactly. I think that's been kind of up and down.
I guess we'll find out when the movie comes out. But this movie, the project was started by Russell Charrington, and he's still co-executive producer of this movie. And then Raven Banner and Jovanka Vukovic stepped in to join the project. So she is now at Clive Barker's house. She's going to be writing, I guess, a draft of the script for Jacqueline S. there. She posted some pictures on Facebook.
Yeah. Making everybody jealous that, comments.
Yeah. Did you see the picture that was posted by Clive Barker's Facebook where they put this huge pile of Scream Factory DVDs, Blu-rays?
Yeah.
Next to the Boone Cabal bust.
Yeah, so Clive Barker just basically got a whole bunch of free movies.
Yeah, he did. I'm pretty jealous.
That's pretty cool.
He got a huge pile of, I think it was all of the Scream Factory releases, actually.
Wow.
I think that was what said on the caption.
Yeah.
He just got a box full of all of Scream Factory's releases. And that Cabal bust has been having, has becoming very popular. I mean, he showed up with the movies, and now he showed up with Jovanka, with Boone, and the original Hellraiser puzzle box. So she's holding the puzzle box for the first Hellraiser, and she's standing right next to Boone, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
She posted another picture, selfie, in Clive Barker's living room, saying, one more from the writing room tonight.
Holy cow. Yeah, so it looks to me like she's not staying in the studio. I think she's staying in his house.
Yeah, it looks like it's Clive Barker's house, really.
Yeah. So that is super awesome. Actually, this reminds me of there's been arguing on Occupy Midian from people complaining about how expensive Director's Cut Special Edition is.
Deluxe Edition.
The Deluxe Edition, yeah. And I guess you've brought this up, and I want to say it too. I think that there's a perfectly good $25 edition that's a double disc combo Blu-ray DVD of the director's cut that also has special features on it.
Yeah, I think it's going to also have the commentary. It's also going to have actual behind the scenes footage for the making of Nightbreed that they recovered and stuff like that. So
it won't have the theatrical cut in Blu-ray, which is for hardcore people like you and me and others who are we're just so happy to have this. I mean, there was a little bit of sticker shock. I was shocked for about half an hour, and then I bought it. When the announcement came out.
I think it's not just for hardcore fans, also for people who like the theatrical cut, because this is a brand new transfer.
Yeah.
Like Cliff McMillan told us on our interview episode. They did a proper transfer of the interpositive.
It's probably the best edition of the theatrical cut that we'll ever see. And Clive Barker still directed the scenes that are getting taken out for the director's cut. The stuff he was forced to do, like the ending with Decker resurrecting and stuff like that. Those are cool looking scenes, even if they're, not his original intention.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, it's also a part of his work. He also directed those, like you said. So.
Yeah. So the next one, as we're.
Can I just reiterate? I just want to refresh people's memory here.
Okay.
That there's going to be screenings for the director's cut of Nightbreed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We talked about the SpectreFest in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be October 16, 2014. It's going to have a Q&A with Clive Barker.
That's only a couple of weeks away.
Yeah. There's going to be the EpicCon Ohio, the Geekfest at Dayton, Ohio, on the October 25th. 2014, and that one's going to have Simon Bamford and Chris McCorkindale, Shuna Sassy.
And Michael Plumides will be there too.
Yeah, and also, they're having this reunion thing for Hellraiser actors and also Nightbreed actors.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another one at the Texas Theater in Dallas on October 28, 2014. I'm not sure if we talked about this one before.
Mm-hmm.
And this is important. The Alex Theater, Los Angeles, actually Glendale, October 28, 2014 has been changed to October 27 at the Crest Westwood Cinema in Westwood. So, sorry about this. It's out of our control. This was changed by Clive Barker's people. So I had to change the event. That's on Occupy Midian. If anybody already did some plans for this one, we're sorry, but we didn't set this one up.
We're just helping out with spreading the word.
Yeah. So apparently this one has been changed to Crest Westwood Theater in Westwood, Los Angeles, and it's going to be October 27, not 28. So there we go.
So one day earlier in a different theater.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be around 7 o'clock, the screening.
And isn't so going back to this Texas Theater one on the 28th, isn't that for Texas Frightmare Weekend? Oh,
yeah, good point. Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Yeah, so Texas Frightmare Weekend is a really cool event. That's my first ever convention, was going to that.
Awesome.
Because Clive Barker was going to be there, and I thought, I've never been to a convention, and I heard about all these other people that were going to be there, so I started pulling out all my DVDs and Blu-rays of the movies that those people were in so that I could bring the papers, for the inserts and have them sign all those, and it was really cool.
Was this one where you talked to Tony Todd?
No, that was Mad Monster Party.
Right, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's, I met the tall man, Angus Scrim. And I met Roger Corman.
Nice.
And, of course, Clive Barker and Doug Bradley I met for the first time there. And who else was there? Oh, that's when I hung back and became friends with Mark Miller, too, was at that.
Yeah. And if anybody's listening to this, I'm planning on going to the Crest Westwood screening at the on October 27th.
Yeah.
So if I'm there and you guys see me, just come over and say hi.
Yeah, he'll be the one wearing a neon sign that says Clive Barker Podcast.
Yeah.
No, but definitely. Come and say hi, and Jose will have equipment. So maybe you could talk about seeing you could talk about your impressions of seeing the movie.
Yeah, I'll be
on our podcast.
A camera and a microphone. So
yeah,
I'll be covering everything to the best of my extent, to the best of my ability. And so if you see me, come say hi. And I'm sure there's a lot of people from Facebook that are probably going to be there too. I know our listener and friend who won the Pyramid Gallery box on our last giveaway, Elena DeGarno. She's going to be there. So,
cool.
I think she's going to be there. So I'm probably going to meet her, and our friend Maureen also. I'm probably going to go with her. So it's going to be really cool. Looking forward. And
good.
It might be it may just be the first time I'm ever going to meet Clive Barker, and I have to say I'm a little anxious about that.
Oh yeah. I think something to be aware of is that he'll say things that just purposely to catch you off guard because he thinks it's funny.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I love that kind of humor.
So he said to me one time, so you live in Alaska.
You're the straightest guy I know.
Well, that's one thing. But, another time he said, so you live in Alaska, right? I said, yep. And he said, so when it's so cold, how can you possibly have sex?
You should have said that's exactly the best time to have sex, when it's cold.
Yeah. I said,
that would have been my answer.
We're indoors.
We're not in the middle of the snow, although you're giving me some ideas.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just, for me, I got all flustered and like.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah.
And I can imagine him saying that in his typical raspy voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He revels in that.
So
stuff.
you're from Alaska. Tell me, it's so cold over there. How do people have sex?
Yeah. That's exactly what it sounded like.
That's the first time I'm imitating Clive Barker. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But
we could pretend to do a Clive Barker interview.
We could. It would be pointless. But we could do it. I'm sure we could actually answer the questions accurately as well.
Maybe some of them.
There's also a last one. Do you want to cover the last point?
Yeah. So I don't know a whole lot about this. So at the British Library, and I think this is happening tomorrow as we're recording this, there is the Terror and Wonder of the Gothic Imagination, which has some... It's an exhibit that has some Clive Barker stuff in it. So it's got handwritten drafts of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and the modern horrors of Clive Barker's Hellraiser, and then Twilight. but yeah. So and what do you, is it that it wouldn't be the Hellraiser manuscript, would it? I mean, like the handwritten draft of the screenplay.
I don't know. It could be. I'm not entirely sure. It's not entirely clear when I was reading it. Yeah. It just mentions that there are some handwritten drafts that relate to Hellraiser.
So, in talking to Phil and Sarah, it sounds like they've been very involved in that, in helping put that together. So, yeah, if you're anywhere near there, you should definitely go.
Yeah, this is the British Library on Euston Road, London. So. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful and fascinating exhibit with all sorts of like cool stuff. And because we're because we're doing our non-drawing tonight, I'm going to be editing this probably and posting it tonight. Okay.
So you know, if you get this in time, go see that.
This exhibit goes from October 3rd to January 20th.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So you don't have to go there opening night if you don't want to.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it for news. We actually had a pretty decent amount. Or maybe we just talked a lot about a few things.
It's always nice to talk about upcoming releases of Clive Barker books.
Yeah. Yeah, so we can go onto the fundraiser. Clive Barker Podcast presents Fundraiser II. So remember, we had a drawing, right? We called it at the time a raffle drawing, where we had a certain number of prizes and we drew names of the winners. And since then, PayPal has decided that we were gambling. I guess we were running an online casino. So,
I can see how that technically might be misconstrued as gambling, but at the same time, it's also ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, so
it's not like we're giving money to people.
What I can say is, if you entered, you have a very, very good chance of getting something. Definitely over 50%. So anyway, they cut off my. They cut off my access to the account. They wouldn't let anyone donate money anymore, and until we got it cleared up. And to them, they were satisfied once I'd cleaned up the website, taken down all the PayPal links that said raffle tickets or had the word raffle, and I cleaned up the language on the posts and all kinds of stuff. And I'm kind of, I don't know, it's really irritating, but at the same time, it's their stupid website. So we have to do what they say if we're going to use them for collecting money.
So I'm just going to pretend that I'm suffering from Elmer Fudd syndrome, and instead of a raffle, I'm going to call it a waffle.
Yeah, the waffle. Yeah.
We're going to do a waffle.
Right. So, basically we're doing, if your name was in the bowl, it's still in the bowl for this particular one. And if you hear rustling of paper, we're gonna be calling out names who are going to get things of people who have donated. And if you hear rustling of paper, it's not because we just drew a winning name. It's something completely different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's Ryan is practicing the art.
That's right. Yep, I have little beads of liquid that are rising up off of my fingers right now.
Yeah.
That was a cool description. Anyway, I guess we'll save our commentary about the Great and Secret Show for next time.
That's a good point.
Okay. So, basically, just as a reminder of how this works, you donate any donation that you make over $25 puts you in consideration for getting an appreciation prize.
Giveaway.
Yep. The waffle. and and that puts you in the non-drawing, where you will you're probably going to get something. So anyway,
so are we not drawing for Next Testament number 7?
That's
signed
right.
by writer Mark Miller?
Yep, that's the first one. So Next Testament number 7, signed by Mark Miller. He's the writer and co-creator of Clive Barker's Next Testament by Boom Studios. It's a 12-issue run of a comic series.
He was also editor for a while of the Scarlet Gospels. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. He's sort of Clive Barker's right-hand man right now, and he's so busy he's not easy to get a hold of anymore. Okay, so anyway, but he signed this just for us. He donated this number 7 to us and autographed it. So we thank you, Mark Miller and Seraphim. So, okay, here we go. I am going to pick somebody to appreciate by not drawing their name out of a thing. Okay.
Appreciate the heck out of them.
Yes, Kip Jankowski. Congratulations.
Right. Congratulations, Kip. You just won a Next Testament number 7. I mean, you didn't win. We're offering you a Next Testament number 7 signed by writer Mark Miller. Yay!
Because we appreciate your donation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much for supporting the podcast.
Thank you. All right, so that's cool. And then let's see here. The next one.
That's nice. I'm looking at you writing in real time on OneNote, and I'm seeing his name being written right here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
OneNote is cool unless you accidentally delete your entire series of... I couldn't believe I just did that today. I was so angry. And actually...
You must have deleted like 30 episode notes or something.
But the list of the winners from the last time was on there. But it's also on our website. So, and then I've also got emails from people. I haven't mailed anything out yet. Because, I was thinking there's people that have entered more than once. So if I could combine some of their things, I might do that.
Oh, God bless those people.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So the next thing, this is Next Testament issues 1 through 7 and number 12. So it's kind of like the other one, only this is, you get 8 issues that are not autographed.
And the 12th issue, what cover is it?
That's the regular one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So these were thanks to Boom Studios. They gave us some extra ones to give out. So we thank you very much, Boom Studios. They're awesome. They're doing great comics, and we love, especially now that we love the new Nightbreed and we love Hellraiser Bestiary.
Yeah, that's amazing. Nightbreed is amazing, and Bestiary too.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Let's see.
So who are you going to appreciate next?
Yeah, let's see who we appreciate. Steve Dillon.
Wow, Steve Dillon from Down Under.
Yeah.
Hey, mate.
All right.
Just won 8 comic books of Clive Barker's Next Testament. So congratulations.
How long does it take to mail something to Australia?
Maybe a week or 2.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Steve Dillon, for supporting us. And,
I just put that.
He's also the guy who made the Book of the Tribes.
Yeah, the Book of the Tribes. Oh, and we have one of those as part of our...
and he's been setting up these weekly discussions about Books of Blood stories on Facebook. You should check it out.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty cool. I have to go back and listen to our podcasts about the Books of Blood to know what I think. Okay, the next one is an autographed Occupy Midian poster. So this was from the 2013 May Portland, Oregon screening at the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival. So this is autographed by Russell Charrington and Reverend Ashbury himself, Malcolm Smith. So this screening was neat because Malcolm Smith actually got up and talked with Russell and did the Q&A, which probably was a once-in-a-lifetime thing because he's not really in that, acting world anymore.
Right. He lost his way, the poor son of a bitch. I'm sorry. I had to put that one in. I didn't mean any disrespect. It's just a line from the movie.
You wouldn't want to miss the apocalypse.
It's here. They're getting ready for it up at Midian.
Yeah.
But we're not here to quote the movie because between you and me, we could probably quote the whole movie.
Yeah. Although the movie's going to change now.
Also, another thing is it's really it's quite a piece, this poster, because it's signed by Russell Charrington and Malcolm Smith.
Yes.
It's also something that used to be a part of your collection, and you're parting with it for the fundraiser. So thank you, Ryan, for parting with this.
Well, and I have one of every kind of Occupy Midian poster autographed by various people. Mm-hmm. And when you're married, you can't say, well, but this one's got different autographs on it. So that's why I want to have it framed and hang it up somewhere else in the house.
I must have I don't know how many posters I have, but I hardly have any of them framed. I always have them all inside these tubes.
Yeah.
Or inside a big drawer.
If you did get them framed and hang them up, you probably would have to make a pretty good case if you're going to try to hang up two of the same poster because they had different autographs on them.
That's true.
Yeah. So
I guess
that's why.
I would probably frame the Occupy Midian, the Cabal Cut poster that has. I think I have one with Russell Charrington, Simon Bamford, and Bobby, maybe.
Oh,
and Nicholas Vince, and I think Russell Charrington says something like, "Without you, there would be no Cabal Cut," and that I was pretty shocked when I read that. I was like, "Oh my God, that's extremely generous of Russell Charrington to write that on the poster," and I was very, very touched.
It's amazing how this this ride has taken us.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly, it's without Russell, there would be no Cabal Cut.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
We were just inspired by Russell's work and his vision of making the ultimate Nightbreed director's cut.
And the name that Ann Bobby came up with.
Yeah, and the name that Ann Bobby came up with because she's very connected to the Occupy Wall Street movements.
Yeah. Yeah, which, if you think too hard, this isn't really like Occupy Wall Street. But, and you're supposed to occupy the thing that's causing you the problem, right? So it should have been called, like what Craig Sheffer said. I was interviewing both of them, and Craig Sheffer said they're going to occupy Morgan Creek. And Ann Bobby said, Occupy Midian. And it's that's actually a much better ring to it than Occupy Morgan Creek. And plus, you don't want to make them mad.
Right.
We were trying to convince them,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he was just joking around. He didn't have anything against Morgan Creek. He even said so in the interview. He said, he doesn't want to disparage them because he's always looking for work.
Also, just to redeem myself from that movie line I quoted about Malcolm Smith, I just want to say that it's also pretty rare that he would sign something, I imagine. And
yes, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
he was only on one of these screenings that I know of. So.
And in that respect, I feel a little bad parting with this poster, but I know that if it's one of our listeners, then it's going to go to a good home.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and that's nothing against Russell because he helped set this up for me, and free autograph for Malcolm Smith was awesome. But I just, I've got already hanging 3 Occupy Midian posters with autographs on them, and I just can't, I just can't hang them all up.
All right, I think you've mixed those papers enough.
All right, here we go. This is David Anderson.
Oh my God! Awesome! Hey,
Yay!
David, congratulations! You got a poster. Awesome. Yeah.
Yay! David is a good friend of ours from before the podcast from Rogers Forum. Fifth Dominion Clive Barker fans
David
forum.
From the days of the Hellbound Web that goes back to 2002, maybe. So
and you guys were on the Yahoo groups and stuff, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a great font of Clive Barker knowledge that. He's made a lot of He's made a lot of great comments and stuff to us.
Absolutely.
That have helped us.
Selection as well. Clive Barker stuff.
He's been the silent co-host for our podcast.
Hopefully, one day he won't be silent anymore.
Yeah. We
would love to chat.
We can call your phone, David. Okay. So yes, the next thing. Jacqueline S. movie promotional tote bag. So we were just earlier talking about how Jovanka Vukovic is over at Clive Barker's house right now working out the probably the final draft of the screenplay for Jacqueline S. Her Will and Testament. Or I think it's just called Jacqueline S. The movie version is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
she is writing a draft. I don't know if it's the final draft. Hopefully it would be the final draft. But
I would think so if she's getting Clive Barker's changes on it.
Mm-hmm.
These are promotional bags, and you can see the pictures on our website. They're black kind of shopping bag style bags that were probably given out with goodies and stuff at film festivals to promote the movie to get funding.
Yeah.
So this is incredibly rare
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And like you said in the video, does your friend have one of these? No, they do not. So nobody is going to have one of these. This is very, very rare. And I didn't hold one of these back for myself when it came in the mail, and I really wanted to because we're giving away 2 of them. But no, this is we want to keep the podcast is more important, so we want to keep it going.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've talked enough about the bags. Let's not draw another name.
Papa's got a brand new bag.
That's right. And it says, Seraphim Films and Raven Banner Entertainment on the backside.
There's photos of all of these, like giveaway gifts in our fundraiser blog post.
So this is James Porter. So congratulations, James, and I think James was the second to last person to donate, if I remember
Fantastic.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you very much, James, for your support. You're the reason why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, thanks, James. And he was the person that got in right before stupid PayPal cut us off. I mean, awesome PayPal. That's our friends that will hopefully not cut us off again.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
James Porter.
All right.
I'm writing his name.
And the only thing left is the last giveaway in our giveaway goodie bag. It's pretty awesome. It's the Pandoric Makers Magnum Opus, Volume 1.
Yeah.
It was funded through Kickstarter. This book has stories and puzzle box diagrams and drawings of creatures that look like Cenobites from the people at Followers of the Pandorics. And this was heavily inspired by Le Marchand and Hellraiser. But, of course, for reasons of copyright, let's say copyright and intellectual property, after the Kickstarter, while the Kickstarter was taking place, there were slight changes done to the material, but, they made it like a self-contained thing.
Yeah. It used to be called the Toy Maker's Magnum Opus.
Exactly. And now it's the Pandoric Maker, and the boxes are Pandorics.
Yeah.
They were drawn by talented Eric Gross of Followers of the Pandorics. So to get this package required a $150 Kickstarter donation, so this wasn't cheap.
Yeah.
It's got some nice looking color foils in there.
Yeah.
And I did an unboxing video of this, and I think I probably should add that video to the episode.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yep, and it's currently not available through their site or anywhere else. I mean, honestly, I've looked for it. I haven't found any other place where you can find a copy of this book.
So it's possible it may be sold out.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're happy to appreciate everybody here that's donated, and it's possible that somebody that for $25 will get you this $150 book. Well, $150 or more. I think
donated by Eric Gross, which we also thank him. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go.
We should have like a sound effect of like a snare drum.
Or Wow, Rob Ridenour.
All right.
Cool.
Oh my God. Hey, Rob.
Yeah, he was going to join us. I think Rob is right now watching the Scream Factory Halloween box set.
Yeah, he told me he was going to do a marathon until Halloween. So got the copy of the Scream Factory box of DVDs, and those have every single Halloween movie ever done, including the 2 Rob Zombie ones. So I think he's doing a marathon. Well, Rob, congratulations. You've just won the Pandoric Makers Magnum Opus Volume 1. Yeah.
Silver Shamrock.
What was that?
That's from Halloween 3, those masks.
Oh, yeah. Happy, happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to admit, from all the Halloween movies, the third one is probably the one I've seen the least.
Yeah.
I probably only saw it once.
It has a cool John Carpenter soundtrack.
John Carpenter worked on the soundtrack for number 3?
Yeah, so it has a lot of cool, like, musical stings and stuff that John Carpenter would do. Like, the mask has bugs crawling out of it, and it's like, Pew!
Yeah.
Yeah. And after number 3, that stuff wasn't happening anymore, and it's kind of like,
That's fantastic.
For me, I didn't care as much.
Uh-huh.
And you would think, we're going on a tangent here, but you would think that with Rob Zombie being a musician, that he would be a good stand-in for maybe John Carpenter, because he would direct the same way that John Carpenter does, and thinking about musical cues and stings and stuff like that. But it's not the same.
Well, one is a musician that makes movies. The other is a movie maker that's also a musician.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
I guess, at least the way I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm not going to question anybody's talent here. I mean, obviously, the 2 Halloween movies from Rob Zombie were pretty successful. Maybe the first one more so than the second. Yeah. But, there are still people out there who love it. So.
Yeah. I like the first 2 John Carpenter Halloween movies. I like how they one and it starts like minutes from the other one.
Oh, man. Rob's going to be so happy. And Rob Ridenour, not Rob Zombie.
Yes. Right. Is it pronounced Ridenour or Ridenour?
Honestly, I don't know.
We'll say it both ways so cover our bases.
I'm sorry, Rob, if I'm mispronouncing your name. Yeah. I apologize.
Well, I think we have the Denauer part right. It's just the RID part we don't know for sure.
Absolutely.
But we said it both ways, so we've got a fifth. So we're going to be right. One of us is going to be right.
And if I recall, I think Rob also was one of the persons who did a YouTube video when we started Occupy Midian, and he made a YouTube video talking about the Cabal Cut and how he wanted to see it and have the extended edition be released. So
we should start featuring those again on the front page, because it's been so long now, and I think that now everybody's just like, okay, we're waiting for the movie to come out, and
we still get like people dropping by Occupy Midian and saying, so when is this coming out? And it's like, it's right there on the cover photo.
Yeah.
October 28th. It's been that date ever since when was it announced? In the summer?
Yeah, July.
July or something?
Yeah, it was because it was at Comic-Con.
Yeah, so I know people are waiting for it. It's like
they're like, man, when's the Cabal Cut gonna come out?
We started this on 2012, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been over 2 years now. And for people who are aware of the news that the tapes came out in 2009, it's been like 5 years.
Yeah.
So finally.
Well, and then Clive Barker was telling everybody right after Nightbreed came out that he was going to make a director's cut.
Mm-hmm.
He told me at a Sacrament screening. So a Sacrament signing in like 95.
So all those people have been waiting for the director's cut for 24 years.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, back then he's like, I said, when is the director's cut Laserdisc going to come out? And he said, really soon, and it's going to be 25 minutes longer, and man, is it going to have more stuff? And he kind of implied that it would have a lot more sex scenes in it, or more, graphic sex in it.
Yeah, and I just want to remind people that Cliff McMillan confirmed that, yes, there is a bedroom scene with Shunasasi and Peloquin. So, it's been restored. So there you go. At least that's what he said. But I mean, this is great. I mean, it's coming out finally. And I remember one time when Clive Barker said, if they never find this, then I'll do it with finger puppets. I would pay to see that, actually.
Yeah, well, but this is better.
This is better. This is much better.
And I'm a collector of finger puppets.
And it's not just you are. Yeah, you actually make puppets. Yeah, you should feature that more often. But he said 25 minutes extra back in 1990. But now we know for sure that the director's cut is going to be 2 hours long to the second. So
it does come out being about the same longer, but it's more. It's changed a lot more. Right? I mean, it comes out about the same, like the original 25 or 20 minutes that he said. That's probably about right, about how much longer it is.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't counting like the musical number or anything.
Yeah. So, but there's also a lot of things that are changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be out in. Actually, if you pre-ordered it from Screen Factory, you're probably going to get it in the mail like within the next 10 days or so.
Ah! I can't wait.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't even think about that because we get it early because we pre-ordered it.
Yes, people who pre-ordered it will get it 2 weeks early from anybody else. You're going to get it by October 14, more or less, while everybody else is going to have to wait for October 28.
Yeah, and for all the people who said it's too expensive and Shout Factory shouldn't have been charging that much more when you could get it on Amazon for X price or whatever, I've prepared an elaborate and thoughtful response. I think it's awesome. I can't wait to get it early. We need it early so we need it early so we can talk about it on the podcast.
I know, it's going to be great. I mean, don't forget that third-party sellers didn't have to put money up front to restore this. So
what did Amazon ever do for Nightbreed?
Well, they've done some things for our podcast because I've been getting penny books out of Amazon.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm using one right now for the Great and Secret Show. I bought it for a cent in Amazon. So this is not an Amazon endorsement or a commercial, but if Amazon wants to send a check, you know.
I don't understand how it's worth somebody's time to put a book up for sale for a penny.
It's goodwill stuff sometimes. You know?
Yeah. Well, even still, I mean, would you waste your time selling something for a penny?
No.
I don't understand. I mean, it's good for the buyers, I guess, but you also don't know what you're going to get. I mean, because they don't have pictures, or if they do have pictures, they're not honest.
As a former bookseller, I can tell you that sometimes you will buy 50 books just to get 2 books in that lot that you know you're going to make money and pay for the whole thing.
Okay.
So sometimes you don't really care that much about some of the books that you bought. Yeah. It's more like, someone has a box full of books and you see that there's like a first edition in there that's worth something, and you're just going to be like, okay, how much do you want for that? And this is like $5.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, I'll get the whole thing. And then, you sell that first edition for like $50.
Yeah. Well, and I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the value of books because to me, like the first, U.S. first edition of Cabal should have a lot of value, but it doesn't. You see it, if you see a used hardcover of a Clive Barker book, it's typically Cabal, at least in the United States, and they're cheap. They'll be $5 or $7.
Yeah, I got one for when we did our episode of Cabal, the book. I got one hardcover for like $1 or a few cents or something. But I think that the UK edition came out first, so that's typically like the first edition of Cabal. That's the UK one.
And in the US, there's a first edition, and then there's a book club edition, which is smaller.
Book club editions are always worthless.
Yeah.
Because they're done, they're very common.
Yeah.
They're done in the runs of thousands and thousands of, maybe even tens of thousands. So they're not, but this is not the book selling podcast. So
Yeah.
Don't get me started on books, because I was a bookseller. I have lots of books, and I could start talking about books and rare books. We would never stop this episode.
Well, to bring this back around, we want to say thank you and congratulations to Kip Jankowski, Steve Dillon, David Anderson, James Porter, and Rob Rennenauer. And I also want to remind everybody that we have more of these. And in fact, we even have more drawings than what we posted on the website, because we have more people donating more things. Just to kind of give you a little bit of a teaser, I got a huge thing of Occupy Midian posters. We have ebooks of the tribes that Steve Dillon had said he would donate.
They are iBook versions, right?
Yes.
You can put on your iPad.
Yeah, I think that's what they are. I think that's right. And then they're going to be download codes for the books of the tribe. And then Mark Miller had said that there would be more stuff coming from Seraphim. Yeah,
so the only thing we need now is more people donating, because we're running out of donations right now. So
right now
there's still more stuff.
Yeah, right now we only have 3 names left in the pot, so we're going to be delaying our next drawing until we have at least more names than the amount of things that we're drawing.
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
If you have more giveaway objects, then you have people, donating. But anyway.
So after this is over, we'll put up a link and show like what the next thing, the next things are going to be, and give you some time to put your name in the pot. They're going to be a whole different set of things, and each time we're going to have some cool prizes, and then one that's a grand, sort of a grand prize type of a deal. And they're not prizes, they're appreciation gifts, because this is a waffle, it's not a raffle.
Yeah, it's a waffle. That's my bad Elmer Fudd. I should start doing more impressions. I've done impressions of Clive Barker and Elmer Fudd in this episode.
That's right. This is the most impressions that you've done of people on any of our episodes.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you very much.
One time I gave Clive Barker a nightmare.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because there were 2 signings. One was one day and one was the next day, and they were both in Seattle. And so he asked me what I did, and I told him I sold real estate in Alaska, and he told me, and he was talking about An Inconvenient Truth, the Al Gore movie. Yeah. And I said, he said, so is it true about the permafrost or melting and houses are sinking because of global warming? And I said, yes and no. I said, because in actuality, a lot of people's houses collapse because the heat from the houses melt the permafrost underneath them. Like in my brother's case, he cleared a spot for building a house, and he built it a post-on pad, so it's up above the ground, so the heat from the house isn't supposed to get to the ground. But it wasn't just permafrost, it was an ice lens. So permafrost is frozen soil, and ice lens is like a chunk of ice. Sure. And just having the ground cleared and letting the sun hit the ground was enough to melt the ground underneath of his duplex that he built. So now he's trying to give it back to the bank and had to declare bankruptcy.
So this podcast moment was brought to you by Remax.
That's right. Yeah. But anyway, so I was telling him about that, and I said, I'm not saying that I disagree with the movie, because I totally believe in climate change. I'm just saying that particular issue is complicated, and it's not as simple as like, the climate's changing, so everybody's house is sinking.
So it's still man-made. It's just that it's a more localized phenomenon. Melting the ice underneath.
Yeah, sometimes it's just bad engineering.
So you see, Clive Barker is also interested in global warming. People, it's happening. So.
And so the next day, I went to another signing with him, and he said, I had a nightmare that my house was sinking in the ground, and it's thanks to you. so that was pretty cool.
I think it would be hard in the canyons of L.A. to have melting permafrost underneath Clive Barker's house.
Yeah, but he does seem to think about earthquakes and California getting swallowed up a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you think about the book that we're reading right now, The Graded Secret Show, and then Animal Life.
Yeah, Animal Life, the short story where Ralph, I forgot the name of the character, but yeah, there's a big earthquake and nature is like shaking the humans off of it.
Yeah, and
it's telling all the animals to, GTFO because, they are going
to paraphrase.
Yeah, that's basically what that story is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was our drawing, our
non-drawing
giveaway.
Yeah,
that was our giveaway. So thank you very much to everybody who donated.
Yeah, we appreciate it, and we really, really want to keep having them. So keep donating. We've got a lot more stuff to give away, and it's just taking up space in my spare room here.
And again, it's like, I don't know if we should mention any kind of. If it's kind of crass to mention any sort of like amounts, but it's like the podcast does cost hundreds of dollars to maintain.
Yep, and I can tell you that the real estate market here in Fairbanks is not as good right now as the rest of the country, and and in the past, the first year or two, I sort of paid myself, and then you were helping, and then and then we had to start asking for help.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much to everybody who contributed.
Yeah.
And that was our giveaway.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to sending these things out. And I am gonna be sending you a poster. You wanted the Razorline poster.
Yeah, that was nice. Yeah, sure. Thanks.
I've got that all at my office. I've got a whole bunch of stuff at my office ready to go out with the mailman.
Yeah. And if you send that, also send the recorder.
Oh, yeah.
Because I probably shouldn't say this, but I was just told by someone who's organizing that screening that I'll do my best to get you some time with the actors. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So don't 100% count on something happening, but to our listeners, but something exciting will probably happen. And supporting our podcast helps us do more cool stuff like that. And Jose, you were just talking earlier today and the other day about doing more video content, and you're starting to put together an enhanced version of Clive Barker's Undying, and you'd like to do a playthrough of that.
I would like to do a playthrough of that, do a Let's Play on the BarkerCast YouTube channel. I was considering that because I've never actually played that game through, and I bought a copy from GOG.com, and so I kind of started getting into that, and I haven't played it yet. I just put it together.
And I have the Mac OS version, but I'm afraid that it's pre-Intel.
So I managed to get the game working on widescreen with some patches that other people have done, and I managed to get like a texture patch for the game, so it's looking pretty nice.
Wow, yeah, so it's going to look better than what, if you've played it, it's going to look better than your memory of the game.
Slightly better, probably. Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so, not as jagged edges of, the polygons and stuff.
I also have, like, some stuff that sometimes I think about that I would like to be able to make these videos about how Occupy Midian got started, or stuff that I didn't mention when we were doing an episode about a book or something, but then I start getting more into it because I work a lot in spur of the moment kind of thing. Like if sometimes I might pick up a book and I start looking at the book with like a different set of eyes looking at the book, and I start wondering what happened around this book. How did it start? What were the conditions around, at the time when this book got started, what ideas inspired it. And so I like to start going in and, like Hellraiser 4, Bloodline, an Alan Smithy movie. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't give $2 to watch that movie. But there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes in that movie that over the years and, looking at articles about Fangoria and stuff like that, you start putting the pieces together and you start getting a better idea of what happened. So that made that movie become an Alan Smithy movie. They were like... The movie set was an old pasta factory, an old A1 Globe pasta factory. The kid who played LeMarchand's son got the measles and had to be replaced by another kid. And I wonder sometimes, I have this knowledge in my head, but a lot of people have no idea about this. I mean, I'm sure some people have some idea of this, but nobody ever got all of these stuff together and decided to make it into a cohesive story. And that's something I would like to try someday, you know.
That would be cool.
Why not do it as a YouTube video with like images and stuff and like a voice? So who knows? Maybe I have an idea to do with you, which is like commentary tracks.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Commentary tracks for Hellraiser movies, for example. We could do that in the future. But it's like it's hard to do this when you're worried if you're going to be able to maintain the podcast up and running.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend too much time on something and then you go like, well, we don't have enough hosting or we ran out of bandwidth or whatever. So that's why the support for the podcast is important, because it helps us feel that we're actually loved and people are actually interested in what we do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we could just talk on the phone, just the two of us, and, we could have as much fun, but, we wouldn't be making a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, we want to promote Clive Barker, and we want, all you listeners are already fans. Obviously, we're preaching to the converted, but go out there and share the love of Clive Barker, and we want him, we want it to be like it was in the 90s. Yeah,
that was the good old times. Yeah, it still is. I mean, look at all the releases that are coming out right now.
That's true. I mean, there've been a lot of limited special edition kind of releases, but Scarlet Gospels is coming.
Yeah.
So that's a return to a Clive Barker horror novel with two very popular Clive Barker characters.
And I'm looking forward to see if this Pinhead, and I use the word Pinhead with a pinch of salt because in the first book, The Hellbound Heart, it was a little different from what we got in the Hellraiser movie.
Yeah, he had jeweled pins in his head, and he had a voice that was
a breathy girl or something, an excited girl. But I'm looking forward to see what he does. I know that at one point he was talking that Lucifer and Jesus were going to be in it, and we were going to see a city of fallen angels. And when Clive Barker talks about a city of fallen angels, he's going to do it in his own inimitable style. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be mind blowing. So,
yeah. We have one late question actually that just after we started the podcast, I just got in a message here. Jason Steleric says, Hey Ryan, an odd question, but I've brought it up on the forums before, and it seems no one ever knows what I'm talking about. Years ago, to promote the Hellbound Heart standalone paperback release with black cover and upside down head and people that made up the face. I think our listeners know the cover we're talking about.
Yeah.
A poster was put out by the artist. Last one came up on eBay, but I missed it. Been searching for this for 20 years and haven't found another. Do you know which poster it is that I'm referring to, or know of any leads on who may have one for sale? So I sure don't know where one would be for sale, but I know what he's talking about. I think it's like a raised cardboard stand, isn't it?
I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. Is it Jason Stelaric?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, Jason. I'll look into it, and Ryan will look into it. And if either of us finds out anything, we'll let you know.
Because I do remember what he's talking about.
Yeah, I remember the cover with the two female creatures doing an underskin massage. I know the cover art, but I don't know exactly who did it. It doesn't come to my mind right now, but we can look it up, and we'll contact you later and tell you about it, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So that was episode 80, is it?
Yeah, episode 80.
Wow, another milestone.
Yeah, I mean they're moving fast because we've been doing this weekly for a little bit because of the fundraiser.
Yeah, but then remember, next episode it's going to be Great and Secret Show. I don't know if we're going to do the whole thing. We're probably going to do a huge chunk of it.
Yeah.
So
we'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think, in the past we have gone chapter by chapter and explained what happened, and we want to avoid, for the listeners out there, we want to avoid doing that because if you haven't read it, we don't want to spoil it, and if you have read it, you know the story.
Exactly. This is a really good book.
Yeah, so we want to talk more about our impressions, and Jose, you've been doing a lot of research, and so you've got a lot of outside knowledge, and we'll talk about our favorite parts and themes and interconnections with other Clive Barker works.
Yeah, and keeping in mind with our grand unified theory of Clive Barker.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, that's it for this episode, and stay tuned, and congratulations to everyone who got a giveaway gift.
Yes. Yeah, congratulations, and thank you.
You guys are all awesome.
You can reach us on the web at www.clivebarkercast.com. Leave us a review on iTunes. We're on Podomatic, Xbox Music Store, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Double Twist, BlackBerry, and Pocket Cast. Like our page on Facebook and join the Occupy Midian group. On Twitter, we're at BarkerCast and at Occupy Midian. The forum is www.clivebarkerfans.com/forum. Opening theme by Colin Lakativa.